Favorite real estate broker, and we are live here today. What I wanted to do is I really wanted to share with you. Now, I have a bunch of information about probates and how to navigate the sale of a probate home, or if you get inherited a home. Well, what do you do with it? What are some of your options? How do you deal with it? What are some of the best practices for families? What are the concepts to know when selling an inherited home? How does things get distributed among family members? What are some of the downsides, believe it or not, to inheriting a home? How selling a house in an estate differs from regular home sales. I mean, that's definitely something you might want to consider. How do you determine the value of this home? What are some of the ways to sell? There's actually 4 different ways to sell your inherited home. How do you prep a home, especially if it's older, for sale? What are some of the things that you can do with that? What are the small improvements that you can make that might gain you thousands and you and your family thousands of dollars? What are the best ways to market an inherited home? So what I want to do is I really want to tell you the story about Michael, Curt, and Kim, right? So Michael, Curt, and Kim, 3 siblings, right? That I met a while ago, and I knew Mike for a long time, right? And that's not his real name, but I knew him for a long time, and they were basically distraught. This is a true story. They were distraught because their mother and father, and you see this happen quite often, believe it or not, right? They both passed away within a 1-year span, right? And so this was the house that Michael and Curt and Kim, they lived in throughout their entire childhood, right? They lived there throughout their teenage years. It was like the house that everybody from school maybe would go to, right? And they had this big backyard that you could play football in, and then there's woods back there and all that kind of good stuff. And if you know children and teenagers, I mean, who doesn't love woods? I mean, I don't know about today's teenagers. Don't take it personally, but back in my day, right? You see, I have a couple of these grays over here, right? Back in my day, you would be loving to run around out in the woods. Anyways, this was a home that they would even come back to as adults, right? And they would bring their own children to spend time with their elderly parents and that sort of thing, right? And so as we're going through this video, of course, if you have any questions, if you have any chats that you want to put out there, please go ahead and do that. If you like the video, you want to subscribe, please go ahead and do that, right? And then lastly, I do want to let you know that I have a free digital book or printed book, depending if you live here in Connecticut or not, that I can get to you. So Michael, he was the youngest of the 3, right? But depending on each family's dynamics, he ended up being the executor of the estate. I think maybe because he was probably the most educated, when it comes to college, and the most professional. And so he was going to be the executor, and he was going to have to handle the tasks of safeguarding the assets, petitioning the court for probate, settling all the claims, administering all that stuff, dispersing the remaining property. And you know what? Really, when it came down to keeping the family together. And this was difficult for Michael because he was or is a professional. He has a young family, he has a couple young children. They need attention, but he wanted to do the best that he possibly could for his siblings. So they, I could tell you that Curt and Kim, the brother and the sister, the 2 siblings, they needed the money more than Michael did, right? Michael was doing okay for himself. Curt and Kim, not so much. They had some issues. They had personal hard times that they went through. And they were a little bit fearful for the future in many different ways. And none of them really knew the probate process. And so they weren't sure what to do. And so, basically when it came to Curt and Kim, all they were going to do was mow the lawn and clean out the house. But, as you could understand, they needed some guidance. Now, they spoke to a probate attorney, and this probate attorney introduced them to Bill. Right? Quote unquote Bill. And I'm not here to disparage other real estate agents. Bill's a made up name. But, Bill was in the business for like 2-3 years, had a total of like 9 closings, didn't know anything about probate, and was doing real estate part-time. Right? And really, it was a referral from the probate attorney so that Bill can help grow his business. Now, how was that really going to help Michael and Kim and Curt? How is that really going to help them? Now, there are some great probate attorneys. So my disclaimer is I have nothing to say bad about the probate attorneys, right? And I'm not giving legal advice. But what I am telling you is that you would probably want to be involved with someone who knows about probate. So Bill admitted he does not know about the probate process, right? And so Bill also was telling them, that he can learn pretty quick. And so Michael said, well, how long do you think it might sell this vacant home? All the homes sell eventually. I guess Mike was telling me that Bill told him, Bill the agent. And then Michael asked Bill to meet up with his brother and sister as well and talk with them about the process. And Bill actually had the audacity to come back and say, well, you're the only one that needs to sign the docs, so I really don't have to meet with Curt and Kim. Now that, my friends, is a big issue. Where is the empathy? Where is the compassion? Where is the willing to help? Right? And so they were hurt. They felt like they didn't have any guidance. And ultimately, they did not want to do business with Bill. And they saw me on social media, which I actually knew Michael from like more than 30 years ago. When I was in high school, right, we knew each other, and he's seen me, on social media throughout the years. And also he told me that's another person, word of mouth, that told him, you got to call Rob Rosa. And I will tell you what I did is I sat down with him. First of all, I explained to him and I showed him my certificate, not to brag about it, but to show him I've been through the training for years now to be a certified probate real estate specialist. I understand the process. I know the process. And I told him my main goals, right, was to keep things as make it as comfortable as possible for them, develop a plan, help them make as much money as possible from that estate. Right. And so the first thing I did is I asked for a seller for a family meeting to talk about selling, if that's what they wanted to do. You see, you don't make those assumptions. I wanted to understand the situation, where they are now, what they're planning on doing, and tell them that, empathetically, I sincerely appreciate them. I'm here for them during this hard time. And, I started asking them some questions, like, for instance, what do you feel you need help with? Do you feel like we need to get the home winterized? What are the real plans for the home? What are you willing to do and not willing to do? How is the insurance on the home and so forth? And basically, I began to see Michael and Curt and Kim, their eyes light up. And they were like, wow, we didn't think of this. We didn't think of that. Thank you so much, Rob. And ultimately, I can tell you, I went over my custom marketing plan with them. We did a room by room preview. We put together a plan for coming soon. I had an associate of mine, a preferred vendor, that she went out there to discuss an estate sale and helping to clean out things and so forth. And then I started sending them weekly reports and all types of communication. And so ultimately, they really did feel like they got the experience from a professional, the caring heart, and a motivated person who's going to be able to help them every step of the way. So if you're talking about navigating something in probate, make sure you have somebody who's asking those questions. Well, who are all the heirs? Are we going to meet up with all of them? Who are the beneficiaries? What kind of mortgages are in place? What are the other items in the home that need to be liquidated and so forth? Get someone that has the experience and knowledge that you need. Now, also, what I want to tell you is I'm going to put in the link in below. I'm going to put the link to my book. You're more than welcome to get a complimentary edition. It's robertrosa.book.live/inherited-book, but I'll definitely put the link in there. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss it, if you need to get in touch with an excellent probate attorney that I'll partner with, please feel free to definitely let me know. And I hope you're having an amazing week. God bless you. I definitely wish you the best in everything that you might be going through, especially if you're having a concern right now or situation with an inherited property and estate and probate and so forth. So this is Rob Rosa, hopefully your favorite real estate broker, signing out, my friends. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.